Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this week's media briefing. We're happy to have you here and glad you took the time to spend with us today. I also want to welcome those who are watching on our Monterey County YouTube channel, as well as our Facebook page. I am greeting you today because Maya is having some technical issues. Her camera's not working, so I just wanted to tee everything up, and we're going to have a public health update. We're going to have an update on the Monterey County broadband efforts, the California Micro Business COVID Relief Grant Program, as well as a violence prevention workshop coming up called My Life, My Story. And then the Monterey County Library will also be talking to us today. So I'm going to hand it off to Maya Carroll, who's going to narrate us through today's media briefing. So good afternoon and welcome, Maya.
Thanks very much, Nick, for filling in to be the face of the county today. So as Nick mentioned, we're going to start off with Dr. Moreno, who's available for COVID-19 questions. Dr. Moreno, do you want to go ahead and start with questions, or do you have any additional information to present?
Good afternoon, Maya. No, public health does not have any public health announcements, but I can take questions about COVID-19.
Terrific. Thank you. And I actually do have one question. I'll go ahead and get started while others are putting in the chat. Is there any change to the ability of uninsured people to have access to free COVID testing now that federal funds have dried up to pay for those? Does the county still have money to pay for those? And if so, how long could that last?
Okay, sounds like a good question. I can go ahead and take that back to the team and see if we can get a response to the reporter.
Okay, thank you. Next question. In which direction does the Monterey County Health Department see COVID-19 test, case, and hospitalization rates trending right now?
All right, so all that information is on our county website, the health department website. We have the updated version of our website, which shows the test positivity rates, case rates, hospitalization rates, and other information. So looking over the last few weeks, there's a definite decrease in case rates and positivity rates and the number of individuals that have been hospitalized. So the trend is over the last few weeks has been a definite trend in a better direction. But the rates of decrease have slowed down, but we're at definitely at a much lower rate than we were a few weeks ago.
Thank you. Those are the only two questions that I have right now, and I see more are coming in. Another question for you, Dr. Moreno. The Omicron BA.2 subvariant is now the dominant virus in the United States and is more contagious. Do you expect the case rate to rise in Monterey County in the coming weeks?
We've been tracking we've been conducting here in our laboratory some genomic sequencing, and we have detected a small number of BA.2 sublineage of the Omicron variant. But overall, here in Monterey County and in our region and in California, there has been a definite decline. So we'll continue to recommend that people who aren't up to date on their vaccine get vaccinated. And it's the best way for people to prevent getting sick, prevent serious illness, and prevent hospitalizations.
Thank you, Dr. Moreno. Next question. How many specimens have been identified as Omicron BA.2 in Monterey County?
I can really only speak to our laboratory at this time. So in our laboratory, in the month of March, we identified 3 specimens that were of the BA.2 sublineage.
Thank you. Any other questions for Dr. Moreno before he steps away today? I'll wait another second. Good thing I waited. Another question for you, Dr. Moreno. Should people return to wearing masks indoors? Or perhaps what is maybe reiterate your recommendations?
So I still recommend that the people in Monterey County follow the state guidance. If you're an employer, follow the Cal OSHA emergency temporary standards and keep up to date on those standards as they change over time. And if you're a person in schools or working with schools, follow any state guidance regarding schools as it pertains to masking. And the general public definitely should follow state recommendations out of the California Department of Public Health.
Thank you. Any last call for questions for Dr. Moreno for today? Seeing none, Dr. Moreno, if we have any other questions that come through after you've left, we'll forward them to you. And we'll also forward that question regarding funding for test. Thank you very much. So moving on to our next topic, as we all know, the pandemic has certainly pushed broadband needs to the forefront. Monterey County has been focused on improving access. So we have invited Eric Chatham, our Information Technology Director, to give us an update on the county efforts on broadband. Good afternoon, Eric.
Thanks, Maya. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Eric Chatham. I'm the Chief Information Officer for the County of Monterey. We have several broadband efforts happening throughout the county at this point in time, and hopefully more to come. But the current ones that are actually funded projects that are beginning with some ARPA funding, as well as some other funding that's been out there. The San Gerardo community, which is 66 homes and a community center and some other buildings there, will be provided broadband service via Cruise.io. And that will be service that will be free for 5 years to that community based on some of the grants and work they were able to get for that. We also have 2 projects being done by Spectrum, one in the San Gerardo area, which will bring 500 unserved or underserved homes broadband connectivity, as well as the San Lucas community, which will be another 200 homes that will have broadband access brought to their homes. There's also another project going on with Cruise.io in North County in the Salinas area, which will bring broadband services to 500 underserved and unserved homes and up to 1,800 other homes that will provide an additional alternative to existing broadband service providers that are in that area. Another project that's happening that we are working on that we presented to the board on the March 22nd board meeting is we're reviewing potential JPA in South County, which is 4 cities in the county combining together to start developing what they call a publicly owned open access broadband network. And basically what that is a network that would allow a much lower cost and multiple providers to run across a publicly owned network that would be potentially owned by that JPA, and bring in costs and more providers to those communities and last mile, which means to the home broadband services to those communities in the South County. This would be one of the first ventures of this in the state of California. So it's an interesting one to be working on and one that we'll be following very closely and hopefully getting funds for to actually make come to reality. And then the final one that we're tracking and following is there's a Rural Digital Opportunity Fund that was brought to the government. It was 180 bidders bid on $9.2 billion of funds that were available. And an organization, Etheric Networks, won the Monterey County area. And we are meeting with them actually next week to start discussing what is their rollout plan and what areas are they going to cover. And we'll hopefully in a future news briefing, we'll be able to show you the direction and the timing that they'll be coming to some of the different areas throughout the county. And with that, that's the update. If there's any questions, be glad to answer them.
Thanks very much, Eric, for walking us through. There's just a lot going on with broadband. It's very exciting. Are there any questions for Eric? Some of you may have heard the update on the 22nd, but we wanted to bring him back here to walk through more details on some of these projects. And I am not seeing any questions come in. I think you've hit all the nails on the head.
All right, great, thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Thanks very much for taking the time to share today.
Absolutely.
All right, so moving on now to the economy. Economic impacts from the pandemic are also not over for many businesses. Monterey County small businesses can apply for relief grants, and the application period for this has just opened. And we've got Vanessa Kaur, who is a management analyst with the Workforce Development Board, to tell us about the Microbusiness COVID-19 Relief Grant Program. Good afternoon, Vanessa.
Hi, Maya. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone.
Thanks for joining us to tell us a little bit about this program. Very exciting applications being accepted now.
It definitely is. To give everyone a little bit of background, this particular grant program was created last year by the state of California's Office of Small Business Advocate, and the acronym is CalOSBA. And the intent of the program is to provide financial assistance to microbusinesses and entrepreneurs throughout California that were impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, And more or less, those that may have not met the eligibility requirements for some of the larger relief grants that were available in loans. So in the fall of last year, the Monterey County Workforce Development Board received authorization to apply for and be able to administer the grant on behalf of the county. And we were approved by CALOS, but at the end of 2021. And we just received the funds earlier this month. So we're very excited to have been able to open the application period on Monday, March 28th, just a couple of days ago. We have at least 180 grants available, each in the amount of $2,500. Applications are being accepted and reviewed, and grants will be awarded first come, first serve. We're really excited to be able to really issue the funds to eligible micro businesses. And we do advise that applications are submitted online for the quickest turnaround time so that we can get the money into the micro business owners' hands as soon as possible. There are a number of eligibility criteria for micro businesses for them to be able to apply for this grant. One of the big ones is they cannot have received a grant from the California Small Business COVID-19 Relief Grant Program in any of their rounds that took place. That's the big one that has made many of our interested applicants ineligible, because we're really trying to target those small businesses that have fewer than 5 employees, were in operation before December 31st, 2019, and are currently open or have plans to reopen. Businesses that have been permanently closed are not eligible to apply for this grant. And one of the other criteria that has, I guess, been able to distinguish a lot of businesses from being eligible or not is they had to have made less than $50,000 in revenue in the taxable year of 2019. And nonprofits are unfortunately not eligible for this grant. And there are also a number of other requirements that also, like I mentioned, they are only able to have fewer than 5 employees. Full-time equivalent is what we've been mentioning. So a small business could have multiple part-time employees as long as their total hours in any given week or pay period do not exceed 30 hours per person per week. Along with their completed application, we do ask that they submit a government issued photo ID that could be either state, domestic, or foreign issued. Their 2019 tax return form, 1040 or Schedule C, which is the majority of our applicants are able to provide that, or an equivalent form, because I know some businesses file under a separate entity. So as long as the form includes their business name, address, employer identification number, and revenue amount, that will be accepted. Payroll record for any one pay period dated after March 2020. We do know that a lot of small businesses do not have a formal payroll record system in place. So to address that, we have a form that they are able to fill out, giving them the opportunity to list the number of employees that they do have and to sign. And we are also working with several partners to be able to assist us with outreach, but also provide technical assistance in both English and Spanish. So any of the information that I've mentioned, along with others, giving the prospective applicants the opportunity to apply online, download any of the required forms, access our frequently asked questions, and also be able to get our partners' contact information, we'll be able to do so on our website.
Thanks very much, Vanessa. That was really a great, thorough rundown for anyone who wonders if they're eligible. And so I'm hoping you might be able to tell me, do a lot of businesses in Monterey County really fit these requirements? People may think, well, I'm not eligible, but in what you know about our business community, people shouldn't necessarily be thinking that they don't qualify.
Right. And this has actually been key, because we've administered different small business grants last year, where it was primarily our team that was doing it from start to finish. And that was where it was very important this go around to be able to partner with several organizations that have a reach to the smaller communities and the harder to reach areas to be able to assist us, so that businesses that might think that they do not qualify, especially since the majority of the COVID-19 relief grants in the past, had requirements that they may not have met. This is really an opportunity for our partners to be able to get the word out there, essentially, and be able to communicate the requirements and walk them through the process. And we try to make the process as easy as possible to not inhibit, any micro business owner from being able to apply.
And people may be wondering, why are we still doing relief grants for businesses? People are looking at the economy, they're looking at changes right now and think, well, maybe those economic impacts are over. And that may be from the perspective of someone who doesn't own a small business.
Right.
From your dealings and assistance, giving assistance to county businesses, really for them, the pandemic isn't quite over yet. Is that correct?
Correct. A lot of business owners, big or small, once the pandemic did start, we noticed heavily that a lot of business owners had to take on a lot of additional expenses that they previously didn't include in their general overhead. So things such as equipment, being able to do dining outdoors, or sanitation supplies to be able to still keep their businesses open while staying in compliance with a lot of the regulations that we had. And, certain businesses that were required to close for a period of time, although they were closed, the bills didn't stop. The rent was still being required to pay, bills and utilities, and along with other supplies, just to be able to keep the business running. So a lot of those costs are still unpaid by a lot of business owners. So any financial assistance that is available, we want to do our part to be able to make that known to the community, so that to help relieve it a little bit.
Thanks very much, Vanessa, for walking us through this. Do you know if we've gotten any applications in since
we have started to. Our partners are doing a diligent job of being able to do outreach in their communities too. So we also expect that in addition to online applications, we'll be seeing some dropped off in person or mailed in.
All right. Thank you very much, Vanessa, for taking the time and walking us through this. It's a great program.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Mia.
And now we're very pleased to have Rosemary Soto with us. She's a management analyst with the county. She's also the organizer of the My Life Story Violence Prevention Conference, which is now in its 4th year and is happening this Friday. Hi, Rosemary, and thanks very much for coming on to talk about the conference this year.
Hi, good afternoon, Maya. Thank you for having us, and good afternoon, everyone. I would also like to introduce my colleague, Ted Black. He is with the City of Seaside, the Seaside Youth Resource Center. He's going to be joining me and sharing a bit of information in regards to this Friday's 4th annual My Life Story Youth Violence Prevention and Intervention Conference. So I just want to kind of give you a bit of a background on the conference. It was about probably 5 years ago where many of us who are working to address violence issues in our communities would attend a international violence prevention conference annually. And we found that the most impactful pieces to those experiences were having heard from individuals who were facing the challenges, who had the lived experience, and could tell a lot about what their journey was as they navigated the systems and programs that definitely were set up intended to assist and help address those underlying issues as it relates to violence. So we got together, and as a coalition of partners, we've continued to plan and implement our strategies for putting on a very robust workshop, a full day of listening to the youth. And we made sure that we centered youth voice in every aspect of the planning. And here we are in our 4th year. We're very excited. I'll share that our partnership includes the City of Salinas, California Youth Outreach, Sun Street Centers, Rancho Cielo has been a partner in the past, Partners for Peace, our Monterey County Departments of Health, Public Health, Behavioral Health, and then your County Administrative Office, which is where I represent. So we've definitely partnered up with our sponsors as well. This year we have the city of Soledad. We will be hosting it in their facility there in the community center. And the Natividad Medical Foundation has been a supporter with a grant to make this event possible. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Ted, who will tell us a little bit more about the meat of the day and what we aim to do and what you can expect when you attend.
Thank you, Rosemary. Yeah, this year's panel will be with our youth employment program. We have a youth employment program where we employ youth that are at risk at 15 years of age to the age of 18 years of age. Now, and if they're working at 18 and they want to stay with the city, we hire them under a different capacity, but they're considered an intern until we hire them in. Which has happened a lot. As a matter of fact, the kids that are going to be on the panel all were youth interns, and now they have transitioned into full jobs with the city and doing a tremendous job. So they're we give them the ability to be able to understand what it's like to get into the workforce, what it's like to interview, what it's like to go through all of the channels that is necessary for youth to be employed, for adults to be employed for that matter, because this is small government. So we do thorough backgrounds and everything that it would take for an adult to get a job, we do it with them and give them the opportunity to actually turn them negatives into positives. So, and it's working really, really well. This is our fourth year with the youth employment program. I'm sorry, a third year with the youth employment program. And we hire close to 50 to 60 kids every summer. And the ones that want to stay, they stay. The ones that go off to college and stuff like that, then when they come back for break, they still have their job. We don't terminate them until something happens to where they say, I'm no longer available to work, or you can go ahead and take me off the schedule. I got another job or something of that nature. But we try to keep them so when they come to our city, they have a job, they have responsibilities, they can go to work. We have a couple of kids coming back from college right now who are they're just glad that they come right back to work and they don't have to look for a job for the summer. With that, then we have our the youth. We decided to take this program to Soledad. This is a countywide program, and which was the idea, not to put it in one city, but to be mobile and to move this project through other cities, to give other cities platforms so that the youth and their communities that are having hard times and needed that intervention can have a platform so that the services that they're getting, those service providers can evaluate those services if they're not effective. So we have been very successful with it, and we get tons of tremendous feedback that says, the program is good and people look forward to coming to it, which makes me feel good because, attending the LA Gang Conference and seeing the amount of people that come from all over the world to get this information, and that we could take something from that, bring it back to our county to make our county one of the safest counties in California is just tremendous. It's tremendous. And so I don't know what else is there.
Yeah, so I can go ahead and share a little bit more about who should attend. We have the target audience is individuals who are working in youth serving organizations, community advocates, folks in education, social workers, our law enforcement and justice partners. I believe I failed to mention the probation department is part of our planning team. And so this is happening on Friday, April 1st. The doors open at 8:30 a.m. and we're scheduled to go up until about 3:30. You'll have a chance to hear all of the three panels. We have a parent panel and two youth panels, as well as a keynote speaker with Jessica Jimenez, who is our youngest youngest serving commissioner on the Juvenile Justice Commission, will be telling her powerful life experience, and her story is just really moving. And so again, Friday, April 1st at 8:30, you can register on Eventbrite. There is a fee of $25 to attend. There is a scholarship available for those who have the inability to pay. We don't want to turn anyone away. We want to encourage you all to be there. Great, and that's pretty much the bulk of our event. Thank you, Maya.
Oh, thank you very much, Rosemary and Ted, for really kind of getting into what really goes on during the day. People wonder, a youth violence prevention, conference, what does it entail? And I think people may be surprised at the breakout sessions and what people are going to be talking about. Do you find the youth response in responding to people who are there, because you've got a real mix of people who are coming, you've got people who are serving them, and then the youth who need to be served. How do those relationships get off the ground?
Well, it's a great opportunity for folks for those who are there to listen and to hear. They really do bring they're very raw stories. We assist with prepping them, but for the most part, they bring their whole self to the platform, and they do definitely share about what worked for them as they navigated the systems that they are involved in, whether it be the mental health system, programs through the education system, the juvenile justice system. Our moderators do a very good job at navigating the conversation and assisting youth with, feeling comfortable in the room. And those that are coming, we definitely ask them to attend with an open heart, open mind, because a lot of the times what you hear can be taken as critique, but it's very constructive. It helps really just to be introspective and look at what can we do better? How can we improve our program, whether it be a delivery, the framework of it, and just really look at, what did something that is so well intended, what were any potential unintended consequences? What barriers do our youth have to face that perhaps we who are working within the system or within programs had not identified it as a barrier? And maybe there are some easy fixes, some easy solutions. I'll share with you an example. During our first year, one of our young people spoke about the fact that in community did not have any relationship or positive contacts with law enforcement. Watsonville Police Department had been in the room, they were attending, and one of her recommendations was to invite officers to get out of their cars and come out and interact with young people, with kids. And the chief of police at that time then decided to equip all of his patrol cars with sports equipment and get out there and do that. And they've since done that. Former Chief Pridgeon of Seaside did something very similar and created a whole mobile van program that goes into the neighborhoods. So these are opportunities to really listen for recommendations and suggestions coming straight from the youth. These are kids who are in their communities that have largely been marginalized or under-resourced and have had some very adverse childhood experiences. So it's important to give youth that platforms where they are experts of their own experience and can really tell us, how can we do better?
Thank you, Rosemary. And gosh, I hope we're going to see some more great outcomes from the program this year. Thank you, Rosemary. And thank you very much, Ted, for joining us today.
Welcome.
And then lastly, we are going to check out what is happening with the Monterey County Free Libraries. If you're a library user, you might have noticed there's a new integrated library system in place. And if you haven't used it yet, Kristen Amaral is here to show us all about it. She is to show us how it works and what goes on with it. She's a managing librarian for the free libraries. Hi, Chris.
Hi, how's everyone today? Glad to be here today. I'm going to share my screen so I can show you our new catalog. Can everybody see it all right?
Sure, we got it.
Okay. So this is a little bit about this is actually our website, and I wanted to show you how you can get into the new catalog that we have. So there's a couple of ways you can get into it. One way is you can click this login button here, and that'll take you to the new catalog. way you do it is you can actually search for something. Let's say you want to search for a dog or something like that, dog books on dogs. You can just click on search and it'll take you to the new catalog. So I wanted to show you a little bit about how to sign into your account. I'm going to sign out here just to show you. So the first time you get into your our new catalog website, you'll notice there's a difference here. We do have the New York Times bestsellers and all the new books and DVDs that we have, as well as ebooks. Here you can just click on these and it'll give you a list of what's available. And when you click on these, it'll allow you to actually get a little synopsis of what the book's about. And you can actually add it to a list. There's a way to create lists now, and I'll show you a little bit more about that when I sign into your account. But we welcome you to just play around a little bit with it to see what you can see here on the front and how that's different. If you look up here, there are tabs now where you can actually, it hooks back to our website, and we are eventually going to migrate our website also. But right now, when you click on this, you'll see that there's actually options here. And when you click on this, it'll take you back to the website, our Monterey County website. So when you first log in, I wanted to show you that, that you do have options. We do recommend that you change your password when you first log in. I'm just using a test card, but you can sign in with your library card number. And if you can, push reset my PIN or password. Right now, all passwords are set to the last 4 digits of your telephone number. And I know some patrons have certain passwords they like to use, so you can reset it here. And then if you have an email with us, it'll allow you to do it digitally. And if you don't, you should contact a library branch in order for them to help you with resetting your PIN. You can also register for a new card here. If you don't have a card for us, you can click this link here and you can actually register for a library card with us. So once you sign in, you're going to see this page here, and it's going to show you exactly what you have checked out. If you have any overdue, anything that's ready for pickup, and any holds that you have. And if you look on the left-hand side here, you'll see that you can actually change your library card now can actually be digital. If you don't forget your library card, you can easily pull this up, and we actually have a barcode now where you can show your library card number. Also, you can also tell us your preferences, what language you prefer, and what your home library is. And this is where you change it here on this side. Contact information, you can change this here. The one thing that about contact information, though, that I wanted to talk about is that you will be able to change your, I'm not getting it to stay for me. I'm not sure why. Okay. You will be able to change your email as well as your phone number on this page. But if you want to change your address, I know it looks like you can change it, but you need to contact someone at the library in order to actually change address. If you do change it, it's going to ask for us to actually verify. It's best to call us if you want to change your address. We do need to verify it just because we keep records of where everybody's located, and that's something we keep as a statistic. So we like to know, and we need to change that on the backside in order to do that. So if you want to change your address, please contact us. The other exciting thing about this too is that we do have a way now, and I wanted to show you, to rate items that you check out. And so if you rate the item that you checked out and you like it, if you notice there's a place for stars right here, the more things that you like, it's kind of like Netflix, where you can actually, rate a movie that you like. You can actually rate DVDs or actually any library materials that you have and that you like, and then it will actually recommend for you within your account. It will recommend for you, and it'll say, we also recommend this title for you. So we're very excited about that. The other thing that's super exciting is that you can now check out ebooks and audiobooks right from the catalog. So let's say I wanted to check this out. All I'd have to do is click on here. This one's checked out. Should be used out. This one's on the shelf here. Here's a talking book. All I got to do is click on it and place a hold on it. And as soon as I submit that request, it's going to actually show up in where you actually on your app that you have for the book, and you can actually go right to it and listen to it at that time. So you no longer have to log in separately to that app to listen to ebooks, to listen to an audiobook, or to check out an ebook. And then the last thing I wanted to show you today is that when you want to go back to our website, all you got to do is click on the banner and it'll take you right back to our website. And so you can actually go back and forth from there. These still are good on this here. If you click on any of these books here, it will take you directly to the catalog now, and then you can just directly place your hold. So we're really excited about the usability of this, and we're hoping that everybody is happy with it also. And if you have any questions, please call us.
Thanks very much, Chris. I think people might not know what goes into creating a new catalog. Didn't you guys have to undergo some training to get this all launched and out for the public?
Yes, we did. We actually closed our library for 3 days in order to get training and practice on our new catalog. So we had to actually migrate all our information from our last catalog to this catalog. And so it's been a progress that's taken us months to accomplish. And we're just very thankful to patrons and our staff who have been very patient and understanding through the whole process.
It seems like, for all the work that you put into it on the back end, it looks pretty effortless on the front end. Would you say this is a lot easier for your average user to get what they need?
I believe so. I really think it's a lot easier now that for people to be able to navigate, and we are getting very good positive feedback so far about how the look of it and how it's easier. It's more visual now. People are able to click on things easier and get to what they need easier and search easier. So we're hoping that continues to be the feedback we get.
Thank you. Very exciting. Always great things happening at the libraries. I don't have any submitted questions, but I think thank you for answering my questions about the program as I go in and log in to change my PIN.
Okay, thank you so much.
And thanks everyone for joining us today. Our next media briefing will be next week, and we'll see you then.